first date was in November 2021, right? When Russia started to like amass troops on the border. And then the second one was obviously February 24th.
Yeah.
Can you kind of take me through what was going through your mind first, kind of when Russia started amassing troops, and then what went through your head morning of February 24th?
Well, if we're talking about 2021, it was not that publicly sort of announced because the government of Ukraine, they were trying to like sort of keep like nation in safe and in peace. So not trying to make like a riot all around that. So it was not really that like seen in the news all around. And they were trying to like minimize the importance of it. So when I just saw that news, it was like, okay, this is weird. Hopefully everything's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be all right. We're gonna be fine. Like it's just sort of like you're trying to like deny what's going on.
Right.
Like it's just first stage of like acceptance what's going on. And then everything sort of calmed down. And people were like, some people were saying like, it was gonna be fine. Like there's not gonna be a war, full scale war, because there's already war in Donetsk. Like we're already fighting there. It should not be like full scale. Like everyone were saying like it's gonna be okay. Some people were like dramatizing, we're gonna all die tomorrow. Like everything's gonna be very bad. So you're like, basically you're trying to believe that everything's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
You don't really want to like believe that everything's gonna be to that extent as it's in like eastern Ukraine.
Yeah.
So that was the first reaction. But if we're talking about 21st February, it was actually time I was not sleeping that night. I don't know. I was just probably like doing some studying or working. I don't really remember. But it was at my mom's house. I was living that time with my mom during the winter. And like I was the first one who heard it. Like just some very weird sounds because
how did you get notified? I mean, was it the TV? Was it a
no?
Siren?
It's just sound. I didn't watch TV. It's just the sound you hear. Like it's just like my mom lives not far from the airport. There is 2 airports in Kiev. One is like sort of not that far from city. Another one is far from city. My mom lives near the one that is not far from city, or at least used to live. And I was staying there. So what are the first things people are trying to destroy is like airports. Yeah. So this is where you hear it.
So you hear like the bomb.
Yeah. You hear like a huge like sound of something is fucking going on. Sorry, you're gonna beep it, but like you don't really
We're uncensored.
Okay, we are uncensored. But this is just crazy. You don't understand what's going on. And you're like, I was going to my mom like, is it okay? And it happens often, or like, did something going on?
Yeah.
And then she was like, what? And then like we woke up and like we had just opened the news and we were like, the war started.
And this was at 5 in the morning?
Yeah, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, it actually started like 4, but I heard it at 5. So
I mean, do you remember what was kind of the initial reaction when you like realized? I mean, because I imagine like when you first hear that sound,
you don't understand it.
You're thinking, what is going on?
Yeah.
Right? And then kind of a period from that to when you kind of internalize.
I think I would not say that I still fully understand it because it's a long-term process. Especially, I know myself that I react on traumas like long-term, like that I'm trying to block it to the extent of I can like function normally. So like I don't get out of my routine. Like I'm trying to like be as cold as possible about everything because otherwise I'm just gonna be like depressed and like panicked all the time. So still to this day I'm trying to understand it, but initial reaction it was like denial and I would say like just adrenaline. Like even now when I'm talking about it, I feel like all my body is like a bit shaking because of the adrenaline in blood because you like feel it sort of once again. But I was just trying to like make everyone peaceful because everyone were panicking because I have a like younger brother and my mom, and I was I was just trying to be like, okay, what we gonna do?
Mm.
She was like, okay, we should go to the basement. And we couldn't because there was issue with the water supply. So like the water tube was broken. So the like underground was flooded. So we couldn't go to the underground. So we were like in the bathroom, just like in the like huge bathroom where you can like stay and try to be like protected. And we were just reading the news.
Yeah.
And for like first couple of days that was happening. And I think after that while, for like until the moment I actually got out of Ukraine, I was like still in the like moments of like not fully understanding what's going on. Because you're just trying to be like sarcastic about it, and you're trying to like adapt, and you're just trying to call your friends and be like, are you in Israel? I have a friend from Israel. And she's like, yeah, I'm in Ukraine. How are you doing? I'm not great. How are you? It's like, I'm not really great as well. So this kind of communication, and like, it's hard to accept it fully.
Yeah.
And only when you like get out of it, I started like more like feel it on my skin when I get out of there, so I can like breathe like freely and don't wake up every night from like the sirens and the alarms. Probably to some people it's gonna sound very weird, like how you cannot understand it if it's like going on out there. But this is like just the reaction of the organism, how you like react if you are stressed.
Yeah.
And if your body cannot like sort of handle the stress you are in. So this is sort of the reaction a lot of people get.
I read that you spent 4 days driving 2,000 miles from Ukraine to England.
Yeah.
After the war. Can you? I mean, I can't imagine. That's.
Well, basically, my mom was driving. I was with my brother, and I was not driving myself. My mom was driving, and I was just trying to not make her sleep, which is hard thing to do. We spent first of all like around the day on the border because, well, basically first 3 months of the war we spent with my relatives in the Carpathian Mountains. This was actually the time I read 60 books within 100 days, just because I was very like bored and I was very like stressed. So I needed to like occupy my mind with something that is not happening in my life but happens in the books. So this is a very bad secret how to read a lot of books. Like when you're just stressed, this is what you do.
Yeah.
And after that, we just needed to make a decision, like what we gonna do, because nothing was getting really better, and we should either go back home to Kiev or go abroad. And we just thought that we can always come back, and we just tried our luck in UK because we have like family friends in England. That's why we chose England. And because of the freedom of speech, because we can like basically easily communicate with people because our English is decent. And yeah, so driving 200 miles, 2,000 miles, sorry. Back to the question. Well, we made breaks every like 8 hours sort of. You always like had sleepovers in Germany, in Belgium, in France. No, in France we didn't. In Austria. So you make like one country a day sort of. Like you make a country, you go to like capital city sort of, and like sleep over, then you drive another day. So within like a week we got into like Manchester. But it was just long. You don't really feel how time spends as soon as you're driving, because you're making like breaks is not that hard to do, but just that the concept of like you have one car in which you need to like fit in all the stuff you have, and you just leave the country with like a couple of like suitcases that you fit into your bag, so you at least can like have something to change for. Like this is just like a decision you need to make and responsibility you need to take. Like how you gonna like survive out there if you don't have anything besides like yourself and your knowledge sort of. And it was just long. It was just a long travel that was uncomfortable, and to some extent I saw some like words landscape, which was interesting because I was traveling and I was still trying to like find positive things in it because I was like, oh, I never been to Belgium. No, this is really how you react. You're like, I never been to Belgium. This is very interesting. I
Yeah.
never like been there on the car. So like I can see what's going on. And and I was like, there is some skyscrapers. I never see this kind of skyscrapers in Ukraine, or like some electro stations when you drive through. Like you're just trying to be optimistic. You're
Yeah.
trying to get coffee, eat McDonald's, you're just trying to laugh, and you're trying to like minimize the conversation about the future. This is something like it's very tough on you because you don't know what to answer on that. You just like have a destination for tomorrow and you'll see what you're gonna be like in a month or in a week. But thanks to our friends in England, we like established the basic life near the Manchester for a short while, and then starting adapting to the UK. But I think to some extent we're very lucky that we have friends, that we have support, and that we basically could have like get out of Ukraine alive. Because I really have a story when like there was a lot of like groups in Ukraine, in cities, of like civilians who were trying to like protect Kiev, because there was on the first 2-3 days like basically some sort of like groups from Russia, they reached out to Kiev, and I have a friend virtually who used to live in like just Bucha, just near the Kiev. There are a lot of things that were going on there, and it's like a village, let's say. And he was actually like making like the Molotov cocktail with his family.
Really?
This is really, and he's sending the pictures to me, and he's laughing about it. Like, this is how we are. We're just like panicking, but trying to make sure no one is panicking around us.
Yeah.
Like, there was also a video out there where like a man stole Russian tank with his tractor. Like, if you will find it, you shall really add it to the video. But this is like literally how Ukrainians were fighting, because we didn't have our weapons like to the full extent. So we're just trying to like do whatever we can. And to some extent it's like hysterical love, because like I don't really understand how we had this kind of a bravery to like go through this event. But like, for example, from my balcony, I saw like when I was at mom's place first 3 days, I saw how like she was trying to get rid of the rubbish because we needed to like clean up the place a bit. And there was like some civilians out there who was like checking everyone's IDs, like what are you doing, what are you doing? And like it's a bit scary because my mom told me like that you have a like man with a gun pointing at you and you need to show them your IDs, because like it was the first 2-3 days of the war and people were just getting mad. They didn't understand what's going on. And at the same time they catch like a spy sort of near our house in Kiev as well.
A spy for Russia?
Sort of. Like, it's like not, I would not say that like a spy that you imagine from movies, but like there was like small groups who reached Kiev and like they were like just separated. So they catch like person and they were like making like sort of, I don't even know how to say it in English, but like they were trying to ask them questions, but in a rude way. And it was all happening in the like kindergarten garden. So there was not like kindergarten, but like place where kids were playing all the time with swings and stuff. With small garden, and it was happening right there. And I saw it from like my balcony.
Wow.
And like at the same time, you're trying to be like, okay, that's fine. But at the same time, you cannot really fully understand that. Like,
so you ended up leaving like your home in Kiev 3 days after the...
Around 3-4 days, and we gone to Carpathian Mountains.
Okay.
For 2-3 months around this time. And then in May, we moved to England.
So you were in Kiev for part of the time when like the Russian forces were trying to take control.
Because it was impossible to get out of the city. Like first hours, people were just trying to buy petrol,
Yeah.
and that's it. Like at the same time, like grocery shops, like it sometimes looked like apocalypses because people were just like rushing into the stores, get food, get petrol. At least we didn't struggle with the food. I'm very happy about that. But there was like struggles with petrol. So even when we were like going to Carpathians, in every gas station, you cannot get more than like, I don't know, 20% of your like storage in the car. I'm not really remember in like liters, but you could not really get like enough to get the full way. So you needed to stop on every gas station to get like a bit more of the gas or petrol, because like it was a huge shortage of it. And on the border there was like some people who like were staying for like 24 hours, for 48 hours to get out of the country.
Yeah.
And just because of that, my family decided to like stay for a short while at least in the Carpathians until all this like huge move like a bit gets more peaceful. So you can like at least not spend 2 days on the border. So better spend it at home. But yeah.
Were you not at all like worried that like did you, I don't know how to ask this in a good way, but were you not at all worried that like your home might get like blown up
Well,
while you were in Kiev?
I mean, even when one of my dachas, we discussed, one of my countryside house is fully destroyed. So even on that news, you cannot really react. You're like, okay, I'm not gonna see this house anymore. Great. Like it just you cannot really like explain that and like go through it. Of course I was sad, but this sadness usually goes over time. Like it comes over time and goes over time. So there is no such a like point of like, yeah, I understand it fully. I'm like crying. I'm into tears. I'm like, I don't know, I need some antidepressants to like calm down. It's not really, for some people probably, not for me, and not for a lot of people who I know.
Yeah.
You're just trying to like keep up with the reality, but at the same time not trying to go mad from the reality.
Yeah.
So I would say just over long period of time, you like understand it and you cry about it and you like get this like wave of emotions, but not during like first wave. Like it just comes over time and then it goes over a long time.
Was your what were you what were you doing like career wise at the time? Were you in school? Were you working?
I was doing both. I was studying and working at the same time because I got my first internship when I was 15. So I started working in marketing that time as well. And I was doing my school at the same time as studying. So at that time I was finishing my school. And school-wise, it was like sort of not that hard for me because I switched my school that I was studying for like 11 years, because in Ukraine there's only 11 years of school. And I switched it like 2 months prior the war, the full-scale invasion, because I couldn't like combine it with full-time work because I was full-time working and full-time studying.
Yeah.
I just decided to go to like self-learning with exams, but without like school attendance. And like for me, it didn't really change anything in school routine because I was still studying online and like submitting everything online, and I had only exams. But I know for my classmates who I like speak to this day, they are still like, it was like break in school. So first of all, like first couple of days, no one like got out of the house.
Yeah.
Second of all, a lot of people were studying in basements because as soon as like alarm goes down, you just needed to go to the basement. But first like few months, it was like multiple times a day, like 10, 15 times a day. And like there was a special place for like school, so you can study in the basement all the time. Career-wise, it was a break for me. I think that's why I was reading a lot, because like all the project I was working on, like they frozen for like some while, and I think only 4 5 months after the full scale invasion, some of them restored. But at the same time, like economically wise, Ukraine struggled a lot through the time because like if you look at the currency exchange rates as well, you can see how like prices increases but salaries decreasing sort of. So career-wise, it was a huge break, and I think I started working fully only after I moved from near Manchester to Edinburgh, when I got fully back to my routine, when I like got to university here and was freelancing here, and then opened the company here. So only after that I fully recovered in this case. And I think my acceptance was sort of like going over time in terms of like me trying to occupy myself with sort of doing nothing. So in Carpathians, I was reading. In Manchester for at least 3 months. I was 3 months. I was doing my documents, PRPs, gymming. I was doing gym 2 times a day, 2 times a day, because I was so stressed. I needed to gym 2 times a day.
Yeah.
And I think this is the way I was trying to like survive, to make like a break from everything and like understand it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I would say I was just trying to prevent from understanding, because I was trying to occupy myself so I can like continue reading the news, because it's very stressful because you have like news groups in Telegram. Do you know Telegram?
Yeah, yeah.
So, okay, not a lot of people know what is Telegram.
I have Telegram.
Okay. Swag. Yeah, so in Eastern Europe, it's very popular. And Telegram, you have a lot of like news groups.
Yeah.
And you like every hour get some pop-ups about like what's going on around like news in Ukraine, about everything. And it is stressful. So like first 2 3 months, you read them every single day, every single hour.
Yeah.
And over a period of time, you're just trying to like not to like at least read global news, because if you read like our news, you get the news every hour basically.
Yeah.
You can just get mad, because if you really like understand what's going on, it's crazy. And yeah, so in short, when I was invited to the podcast, I wanted to combine it with fundraising, and I chose the company that my friends own. It is basically in Ukraine but operates worldwide. It's called Tvori Dobro, which basically translates into like make good deeds. And this is a charity organization that is helping women and kids who suffered from the war in 2022, 2023, 24, and right now, and future. And they are making the fundraising for the needs of those who suffered from the war from Eastern region, primarily for like kids and women's, mainly for psychological support for those kids who are left without their parents because of the war. And they're making just like supplies of medicine, psychological help, clothing, toys, etc. So basically, first need that you need. And we're gonna probably leave the link down below so you can have a look on their website or Instagram or social medias to like see their data yourself, so you can be sure that there is like internationally recognized organization. Also, as sort of like giveaway we wanted to do in order to like stimulate people to donate, basically those kids I was just mentioned before, they made like a small workshop where they're like done some paintings, and one of the paintings and done together, and there is a painting with like Ukrainian symbolics on it, and the name of the organization was like Ukrainian flags and everything, like this kind of a size of the painting, so quite big. That was taken from all the way on the car from Ukraine, Kiev to here.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're gonna be like giving it away for a random donation. So from all of the donations that were made, starting from today to like let's say a month's time, we'll just choose a donation that's gonna like based on the number system, we're just gonna choose a donation randomly and send the painting wherever, whenever you want, for you as a bonus.
Can I just ask, when is that? Because I have listeners that are kind of in all over the
all
world.
over the world.
So is that just for people that are in Edinburgh?
No, we can. If this painting got from Ukraine, I'm sure we can deliver to you anywhere.
To New York City.
Of course.
Um, and so this is just to clarify, this is an organization that's helping women and children in Ukraine right now.
Yeah.
That seems like a noble cause.